All right, I don't really know why I'm doing this, but let's rank every Star Wars project ever. With James Mangold's film announced to be coming in the future, I don't know. Let's just mess around, and do something weird. Here we go. Tier list, your general tier list that we got here. First up, a movie called Star Wars, A War in the Stars. I've heard of it before. It's pretty great. We're going to put it in S, the best, and go from there. We're going to go in chronological order here. So Empire Strikes Back will also go in S. And Return of the Jedi will go in A. So that's the original trilogy. Empire and New Hope are definitely a cut above the rest. Jedi is pretty great still, but it's certainly, these two kind of live alone, I'd say. And then we'll do not the prequels. We have one thing to do. The Star Wars Holiday Special will go in its own category, the Star Wars Holiday Special category. If you haven't watched it, it's on YouTube. Go watch it. It exists. That's all I'll say about it. Let's do the prequels next. I don't even know where here we go. Star Wars Episode 1, Phantom Menace. It's bad. It's pretty bad. I understand the love for the prequel. I don't understand the love for the prequels. I understand the love for the prequel memes. But don't be revisionist historians here. The prequels are all bad. They're all like really, really, really bad. And the less said about them, the better, I think. Should we just continue doing movies? The Star Wars, The Clone Wars film is bad, considering it's just the first 4 episodes of the show condensed into like 90 minutes, and it made way too much money, and it's pretty bad, ultimately. It's where Ahsoka is introduced. She is very annoying. It definitely just doesn't really work. But you know what? That's so be it. The new trilogy, The Force Awakens. I'm going to put The Force Awakens at pretty average. I think it's definitely the strongest one of the 3. Is there some good stuff in it, but it's far from perfect. But overall, I don't know how you can't really not enjoy this movie. I mean, it's kind of like a fastball down the middle. It's pretty safe. The Last Jedi, I'm gonna put in C. I know it's pretty divisive. I originally hated it, but I've rewatched it, and there's a lot of stuff that I don't like about it. But it certainly is not prequel level bad. You can't argue with me that it's the best looking Star Wars movie. It is simply the best looking movie that we've gotten. I think it's pretty well directed. I just, some character choices, you've all heard it before. It's whatever. Star Wars The Rise of Skywalker, poo-poo, very bad. I mean, if you're going to make a trilogy, you got to kind of stick with it. And we've all heard the same argument before about, have a plan with the 3 movies, blah, 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 whatever. It's pretty bad. It's pretty insulting to The Last Jedi, which honestly kind of raises The Last Jedi even more than it once was. So now we are just pretty much on to TV. No, I lied to you. How could I? We have Rogue One and Solo. Rogue One, fantastic. The first kind of movie it very much deals with, getting the Death Star plans, but it does in an odd way feel very contained. And spoiler alert, all the characters die at the end. It's a really well done film, and I wish we were still getting more of kind of what's going on in this instance. Solo is also kind of straight down the middle. It's not great, but I think I just kind of have to call it good. I think it's somewhat misunderstood. I think a lot of people would have it like a bottom tier, but I don't think it's bottom tier. I think it's totally solid down the middle. Does that make sense? Now we are on to TV. Right. Here we go. The Mandalorian. Now, as of the time of recording, season 3 of The Mandalorian is not done, and I might be a little controversial here. I'm going to put Mandalorian in B, and here's why. Maybe it's a little bit of recency bias. It's diminishing returns. Season 1 of The Mandalorian was pretty much exactly what I wanted and what a lot of other people wanted from a Star Wars show in terms of give me this kind of contained universe where I don't have to think about, the larger pictures. Just give me a guy being a guy set in Star Wars. And season 1 did that. Baby Yoda aside and a couple other references, whatever. It was very contained. Season 2 started to expand a little bit, but ultimately you got the payoff of Luke Skywalker coming at the end. You got introduced to Ahsoka. It's expanding a little bit. We're in the middle of season 3 right now, and we're losing the plot a little bit. The show is really no longer about the Mandalorian, but the Mandalorian people or the Mandalorians. And that is less interesting to me because that's not really what I want out of the show. And, that's a personal preference. I think a lot of people are starting to have that same opinion because the lore is just too deep at this point. There's just too much going on, which will roll into my next choice, the Book of Boba Fett. It's bad. It's bad. It's unfortunate, but it's bad. It's just completely unnecessary. The best 2 episodes had the Mandalorian in it, and they also canceled out everything that Mandalorian Season 2 was about, so it's kind of a wash all around. Nothing against Tamara Morrison. He's pretty good. Just kind of something that didn't need to happen. Probably should have been a movie. Most of these TV shows should have been movies anyway. Andor. We'll put Andor in A. Andor's good. It is more of that kind of rugged, kind of garbage bottom tier of who lives in the Star Wars universes. It's pretty much kind of exactly what Rogue One was, just in TV form. It's one of the few TV shows that they've gotten kind of right from start to finish. Obi-Wan, I'm gonna give it a C, just below average. When I watched this, I said I couldn't believe how many high moments and how many low moments there were throughout the show. It kind of felt like there was no middle. It was either this is the best or this is the most boring thing ever. It's unfortunate. This would have done much better as a movie, I think. It just felt way too stretched out. The reason they stretched it out, I assume, is obviously because streaming was their priority, but also the goal of getting us used to the new characters that they introduced. That's fine, but a movie could have done it. A movie absolutely could have done it. The Clone Wars. This looks like it counts the last season as well. We're gonna put the Clone Wars in A. It's in my opinion, it's the peak of Star Wars TV. Multiple seasons, including the last one that got resurrected recently. It's pretty phenomenal. There's definitely some slower moments and some episode arcs or some season arcs that you don't really care about. It is very much a kids show where you can kind of just put this on in the background and go about your day to kind of do something else. But if you watch it, it's entertaining. Good character arcs. You spend a lot of time with these guys, and I think the payoffs at the end are really incredible. Tales of the Jedi. I will give Tales of the Jedi a B. Not that I can really point out too wrong with Tales of the Jedi. They're short little stories. They are enjoyable for the most part. We kind of get that Clone Wars editing back, Clone Wars animation back as well. And generally, it's enjoyable. I don't really have anything wrong with it. It's not any of these up here, so I can't really do anything about it. Bad Batch. I'm going to give Bad Batch a C. It's just kind of fine. I don't really have too much of a care about it one way or the other. It's a pretty somewhat self-contained story, which I do appreciate, but ultimately it's just kind of average. Not really for me. Rebels, I will give a B. Rebels is probably one of the slower starts when it comes to the Star Wars TV options. That first half of the first season is a bit of a slog, especially if you watch Clone Wars and you hop right into Rebels. It's pretty hard to get into the characters until later. And again, a problem with The Mandalorian is that it kind of looks like we're going to be getting more Rebels stuff in the Ahsoka show, which I am nervous about. But fingers crossed. Rebels ultimately, it's good though. If you stick with it, you get through a couple episodes, the payoff is worth it, I'd say. And then Star Wars Resistance, C, it's fine. It's really not. I'm not really a fan of it. Shorter episodes, just kind of its own stories. Not really for me, but who am I to judge? just not really my style. So that's it. That's all the Star Wars ranked. A quick little thing here. I don't need to really explain myself. I think the list speaks for itself in terms of my opinions on the prequels and the sequels and the direction of Star Wars. I'm very nervous about the Ahsoka show, and I am excited about the James Mangold movie coming out. Why did I do this? I don't know, but that's what this YouTube channel is now anyways. I hope you appreciate the ironing board in the background. Maybe it'll stay there forever. Anyways, I'll see you in the next video, I guess. Goodbye.